Hey, this is Mr. Barr, and this is the Math 1, Goal Number 2, One Variable Equations and Inequalities Practice Test. So let's start with this first one right here, which is the following equation. There we go. So I have this equation, d equals rt. It's distance equals rate times time, and I want to solve it for time. So I'm solving this for time. So distance equals rate times time. R and t are trying to multiply. I want to get t by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by r. So there it is, dividing both sides by r. So right, distance equals rate times time. I'm solving for time. Rate is trying to multiply time. So how do I solve multiplication? Division. Divide both sides by rate. I currently owe the bank $2,000. I plan on making a one-time payment of $450 and then making weekly payments of $500 until the loan is paid off. Part A, create an inequality that could be used to solve this problem. Use the variable W to represent weeks. So here's my inequality, 2,000, and I need to have more than that, so I've set it up as 2,000 is less than or equal to 450. That's the initial payment, plus $50 times the number of weeks. And now it says explain the reasoning, and that's probably the most difficult part, is this explanation. So since I pay $50 per week, 50W would give me the amount paid in W weeks, right? 1 week, $50, 2 weeks, $100, 3 weeks, $150, W weeks, 50W. That amount plus the initial 450 must be greater than the 2,000. And then determine how many weeks I will need to pay. So here's the inequality. I'm going to solve it, subtract 450 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 50, and I get 31 weeks. So if I pay for 31 or more weeks, I will have paid it off. So 31 weeks or more. Here's an equation. This is a multi-step equation. I'm going to start by distributing the 6. So negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Negative 6 times negative 5 is positive 30. I'm subtracting 30 from both sides, and then I'm dividing both sides by negative 18, which gives me 1.6. Repeating. Solve this one. I am going to start by adding 10 to both sides, and then dividing both sides by negative 3. When I multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, I must flip the inequality symbol over. So there's the flip happening. So x is greater than 2. Hey, Mr. Best, I'm making a video. I'll see you in a little bit. X is greater than 2. So open circle, because it's just greater than and greater than negative 2. Solve the following equation. I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides, which I did right there. And then to get rid of this fraction, I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. So those will cancel out on the diagonal. And that's going to be 7 times negative 14.5, which hopefully is whatever that number is. Then I still have negative x equals negative 101.5, which means positive x has to equal positive 101.5. And that's it for the basic stuff. Let's go on to proficient. Solve the following equation for the variable x. That means I need to get x all by itself. So who's bugging the x? Well, I have a 10 adding to it. So how do I handle that? I subtract 10 from both sides. So right here, y minus 10 equals negative 6x. I subtracted 10 from both sides. Who's still bugging the x? The negative 6. Negative 6 is trying to multiply the x. How do I fight multiplication? With division. So I divide both sides by negative 6. So I have x equals y minus 10 over negative 6. If I wanted to, I could clean this up a little bit. I could multiply the top and bottom by negative 1, which then gives me negative y plus 10 equal over 6. And then if I wanted to, I could switch these two terms around to negative the 10 minus y equals 6. These are all equivalent. They're all the same. It is 300 miles. It's 300 miles from here to Phoenix. I'm going to drive at a speed of 50 miles per hour. It's very slow. Let's assume that I'm towing something very heavy with a very, very small car. because that's all I drive. 50 miles per hour. I will stop in Quartzsite for 2 hours to eat lunch. Create an equation that can be used to find the time t that it will take me to make the drive. So if I do 300 miles divided by 50 miles an hour, that means it's going to take me 6 hours just driving, plus the 2 hours I stop in Quartzsite to eat lunch and to look at rocks. It would give me my total. That's an equation. The solution to that equation is 8 hours, but this is the equation I'm looking for. At least, so 120 or more, 120 kids or more are going on a field trip. We will take 2 buses and several cars. Each bus can hold 45 kids. Each car can hold 5. Create an equation that models this. So the minimum I'm taking is 120, so I'm probably taking more than that. So that's why I have 120 is less than whatever this is. 5 times the number of cars, because the number of cars is unknown, plus 90. The thing here is that 90, that's 2 buses times 45 kids. That's dialed in. That's locked in. So don't think you have to have extra variables in here. So here's my inequality. Solve it. I'm going to subtract 90 from both sides. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I'm going to need 6 or more cars, depending on how many kids go. My cell phone costs $10 per month just to own. For the $10, I get 750 free text messages. After that, each text message costs 10 cents. Last month, my total bill was $20.50. Part A, create an equation that can be used to determine how many text messages I sent. So, $20.50, that equals my 10 initial dollars just for having the phone, plus, okay, this X minus 750, that's how many messages I have to pay for. So if I sent 1,000 messages, 1,000 minus 750 means I pay for 250, right? Because the first 750 are free. So if I send 750 messages, 750 minus 750 means I don't pay for any. 800 messages, 800 minus 750 means I have to pay for 50 messages. Okay. So here's my explanation. Once again, this is probably the most difficult part, is explaining it. The 10 represents the initial $10. Good. The X minus 50 represents the text messages beyond the 700 free ones that were sent. X minus 750 times 0.1 gives the cost of those messages. So 10 plus X minus 750 times 0.1 gives the total cost, which equals $20.50. And then let's solve this. 2050 equals 10, I'm going to start by combining like terms. So 10 minus 75 is negative 65, combining terms. I'm going to add that to both sides, so adding 65 to both sides gives me 8550. Dividing now both sides by 0.1, dividing both sides by 0.1 gives me 855 text messages. And do I have a calculator easily available? Yes. Let's just double check that to make sure it works. So I'm saying 850, 855. Okay, 855 minus the 700 free ones means I'm paying for 105 messages times a dime. So $10.50 just for the messages, plus $10 just to have the phone, $20.50, which is what it's supposed to be. Excellent, that's the last one. Thanks for watching.